And all right,
Right
let us
on.
know
Yeah, let us know how it's connected.
how the
We're
connection's sounding, the audio's sounding. Of course, we put the new intro in, we shoot at new locations, so we're trying a bunch of new things tonight. So if you can let us know um, in the comments how all the audio sounds with us talking, we should be good. I had my sister come over and play with it.
Yep, our tech support.
Yep. Tech support. Bo Hunt tuning in says, like the new start to the show, looks good. Yeah, thank you. You
Thanks, Bo.
got a little bit of editing trying to throw it together in there.
Yeah, we're figuring stuff out.
Yeah. The one thing that doesn't cost us any money for this podcast.
Couple of rednecks trying to figure something out.
Yeah, exactly. So, we got a couple things to talk about tonight. Sounds okay?
Good.
Thank you, Bo.
We're kind of bouncing off some sketchy Wi-Fi right now, so
Yeah, we're bouncing off my cell phone. So,
we're actually in my barn of metal. So my Wi-Fi that usually reaches out here isn't must be not penetrating through the steel of the barn.
Bo says video clarity isn't good. Well, good. You don't have to see. One thing I was worried about is the. Hey, if you guys are just listening, then you don't have to see us. It works out better. But yeah, dude, the barn came out fantastic. Sorry you guys can't see how good this is, but you got all the receptacles in, windows trimmed in, everything's basically ready for paint if you go to paint now, right?
Yeah, I just gotta get power hooked up.
Perfect, perfect. And you said you're running its own sub panel out here to this.
Yeah,
Yep, good
yeah.
deal, dude. Good deal.
We should have 220 out here.
Yep. So, yeah, we ran the salamander for I don't know about 10, 15 minutes or so. Cranked it
They're up
up.
to 70 degrees pretty quick.
Yeah, we're just letting it chill. No pun intended.
Ben started sweating,
Yeah,
so
I
we had
started
to,
sweating, but
had to
um,
cut the heater.
yeah. So I guess we'll start our episode off. Current events. We have next Saturday, not this one, the 8th. We have um, our um, we have the sip and stroll for Phelps. That's coming up. So we'll be there. I don't know where our tasting station will be or whatever. And then we have my daughter's birthday at the end of the month. So put that in your schedule. And then she'll be a year old. And then we have the runnings event on the 15th of March. So it's coming, dude, real quick.
So next weekend,
Sip and stroll.
sip and
The
stroll,
8th
Nora's birthday.
is the end of the month. Yep.
31st?
The first. It ends up being the first of
Or her birthday's the first?
her birthday's the last day of February.
Oh,
But we're doing the party that Saturday, which is the 1st of March.
1st of
So,
March.
yep, is going to be the party. But she was born on the 28th. Missed being a leap year baby by a few hours.
Then March 15th,
Yep,
runnings.
yep. March 15th runnings, which I'm starting to get inquiries already for scoring some heads. I've scored a few already.
Mm-hmm.
So anybody that's at this point now, December, January, yeah, if you shot opening day, as long as you didn't shoot your buck in December, basically we can score it now.
Mm-hmm.
So any of your bucks you killed bow season, opening day of gun season, um, any of that stuff all the way through Thanksgiving till the end of that month. A 60-day drying period is what you're shooting for to get them scored. So be happy to score that for some folks. Um, Bo says, "Do you guys have a little room in that garage I can rent so I come out west and shoot some big bucks?" Yeah,
It's heated.
yeah, we can put a couple.
Bring a cot.
Yeah, we can put a couple forkhorns up there.
Bring a cot.
Yeah, yeah, we could put some stuff up. But yeah, it's got a nice little space to it, dude. I mean, yeah, Bo, if you're coming out west, let me know. West, as in Western New York, 'cause I think he's out Utica way. Yeah, we're kind of smack dab between Rochester, Syracuse, kind of like so. Anyway, but yeah, no, it's been pretty good. We got to get over to the lease, get cameras pulled, see if we want to tool them up for Survivor bucks. Met a new neighbor over there, so that was kind of cool. Talked to him a
Guy
little
at
bit.
leagues.
Huh? Yeah.
Guy at leagues.
Yep. So found out that one of our sixes, probably I don't know, probably about that caliber, made it, and then solid 2-year-old.
They're all
And
2-year-olds.
then it sounds like the flyer buck, which he was in the intro video,
Mm-hmm.
sounds like he made it. So that's
Be a
cool.
stud next year.
Should be a really good buck next year.
I want to
That was a
know
tough pass,
about.
dude.
I want to know about that 8 and browse.
Browse was the one we're really hoping made it through. He's a really cool
He
buck.
had like 8, 9 inch browse.
Yeah, yeah. And then there was that lopsided 5x4, that 9 point without the one brow tine. He's a pretty cool buck too.
The heavy 8 point I saw the morning I shot mine. I'd like to see him again.
He's a little butterball, dude. A chunky little bugger.
He had a big neck on him.
Oh yeah, he was all swole up. He was a big buck, solid. He was probably a 4-year-old. Yeah, I would say he was a 4-year-old.
But if I shot him, probably 2.
He would have been a 2-year-old if you tagged him. Yeah,
If I tagged him, he probably would have been.
definitely would have been a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
Bo says, "Can't believe you guys aren't going to Harrisburg." Yeah,
It's just expensive, time.
yeah. I mean,
Got habitat work to do, Bo. I got a barn to finish. I got a full-time job. 2-year-old.
2-year-olds.
Someday we might make it to Harrisburg.
Yeah. No, I this weekend, I think is Harrisburg. Yeah, I think Harrisburg's this weekend. Tim, who's the agent of territory for the team I work for, he's going down. Clint's going to be down there, and a bunch of the PA boys will be down there. So you say hey to them at the Whitetail Properties booth. I don't know the booth number right off, but Whitetail Properties will be down there. The PA team will be all set up at it. We didn't go to the Syracuse show either this year.
Northeast go to that? The Big Buck
No,
Club?
New York State Big Buck did.
Oh.
They set up at it. But Northeast didn't just because we didn't see the the value in it. We score almost 3 times as many at the runnings event. So, it makes a lot more sense for us to put our eggs in that basket. And I think now that we don't do the Syracuse one, I think we'll end up leaving more at the runnings.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Kyle, he drove by, saw the lights on. Hey, on your route, grab a 6-pack and swing in.
Yeah.
Kyle.
Yeah, pop on in, Kyle.
Hop on in. Hop on the show.
Yeah, we had
Warm
somebody.
up.
We had
Wow.
somebody honk right before we started.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know who it was.
know who it was,
if you're tuning in, let us know if you're the one that was honking. Yeah, Bo says get a stomach ache during the week. Yeah,
Like during the week.
yeah, that good old.
Yeah, that still goes to my PTO time.
Yeah. So how's it work with
Unfortunately.
you? Are you like a certain? Is it your anniversary date you get your time back, or how does it work for your job?
First of the year.
First of the year. So you got yours back first of the year.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So I'm
'Cause-
loaded back up minus. Like I've already taken 2 days.
Yeah. Well, you got this done. That was huge. So yeah, props to Kyle keeping them roads open, buddy.
Yeah. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to leave things in your way. I know you get upset.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, the old job I had, it used to be your anniversary date. You get your time back. So. But anyway, yeah. But yeah, we got habitat work to do. We got to get the. I get over
I wish
to
I had the
ladies.
whiteboard. I'd explain the boulevard extension and my scheme behind that whole side of the property there.
Yeah. It's a work in progress. We'll have to get a whiteboard for out here for episodes if we keep this going.
I have a pin board.
Oh, one of the cork boards, kind of like. Yeah, we could get we could get you a serial killer board. No, panels going there. Serial killer board. Right over there, Nate.
No, we'll go digital. I need a 70.
Oh,
I gotta
there you
get
go.
a 72-inch TV above that window back there.
That's what we need. That's
It's gonna
what
be
we need.
bigger than the one in the house.
Yeah. Yeah. But.
And I could just, what is it, HDMI cable you plug into your laptop and I can pull all
Sure.
my schematics up right there?
Yeah, we could pull it right in. And again, we're figuring out some of the stuff we can do with StreamYard, some of the more in-depth stuff, like we put the intro video into it now, and it should play our outro video as well when we click off, after we say see you guys for the night or whatever. So that's pretty cool. We're kind of figuring it out, and we can plug in different videos. If I get them ahead of time, we can put them right into StreamYard, not have to bounce around, flip the screen, share the screen, etc. So we're figuring it out. We're trying to smooth out the wrinkles. We're in what, like year 3 of doing live shows. This is episode 57 of the 100 proof. But I
Yeah.
don't even know. We'd probably be over 100 with if we had the old name. Definitely if we included the whiskey videos, the
Yeah.
tastings and stuff like that. And then this, I mean, we're well over 100 videos. So
Bo says he's walked the show in a day. I guess if you
hustling.
don't, that's what I heard. If you don't stop and talk to everybody, you can do the whole show. But
Sure. If you're looking for specific things, I know they got different rooms. I've been down there. I've showed cows there at the expo center
yeah,
before.
did you?
Yeah, Brown Swiss show I did down there one time back in
I
college.
mean, I've thought about it. Just it'd be a fun trip with some friends or, you know, some family or whatever. Just pack up, leave Saturday morning, go check it out Saturday afternoon,
Yeah, I
Sunday
thought
morning, and then just drive home.
I've even
Make a
thought
weekend
about
out of it.
yeah, I've even thought about like going down Friday afternoon,
But
staying
as
all
far as
night.
putting a table up for the podcast, I don't really see the yeah about 4 hours.
About
Uh,
4 hours out for us from where we currently sit. Yeah, there's not much down there.
that's where I shot my pig.
Oh,
We're gonna eat that pig tonight after the show.
yeah, Liza. So shout out to Liza. Hannah's got for the viewers tonight is like what you guys might like to see for like a supplemental show. Do we do it on? Because for this semester, Hannah's going to be working Wednesdays. So do we do like a Friday afternoon, like after work special going into the weekend?
My take is I don't really think it. Well, I guess if people want to chat, but I think most people probably just
Sure.
in the plow truck and they're bored, like, oh yeah, them guys were on.
Yep, dial it up.
Let's see what stupid shit they were saying last
Sure,
night.
sure. But yeah, the conversation, rolls nice when we got Bo and everybody else tuning in and kind
Bo
of
definitely keeps the
yeah.
conversations rolling.
So yeah, I don't know if we do like a Thursday or a Friday or whatever. Of course, it's the same night that my sister takes her
I think
class.
Fridays would be tough because I feel like a lot of people go out and do things Friday nights.
Friday night, go out to eat or
You go out
something.
to eat, or you go do something. You go bowling.
Yeah,
You
fair.
go out to the bar, or you go to the movies. I don't know. You do something on Friday night.
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
I kind of liked that early Sunday afternoon, like around. Remember we did that show with Jesse right
Yeah,
before season. I feel like we got a lot of people tuning in like early Sunday
midday.
afternoon. Like they were sitting there
Well, I
watching
mean
us
now,
and watching the game.
yeah, now football's gonna be over.
I know. What am I gonna do? My wife's excited.
Yeah, football's over pretty much. So, I mean, go Eagles at this point.
Go Saquon.
Yeah, go Saquon.
Screw the Eagles. Screw the Chiefs. Go Saquon. I like
Yeah,
Saquon.
I agree on that. But yeah, a Sunday would work, or just stay tuned into the page. Head over to the 100 proof page, and we'll post when we're gonna do a show. We're gonna try to keep it one a week or one every week,
At
week
least
and a
twice
half.
a month
Yeah,
in the off season.
I think so.
And we're gonna
Well, we'll
we're
be
gonna be
live at
doing
runnings.
some more videos while we like once I now that I got this barn pretty much where I want it,
Mm-hmm.
minus I probably got another day of work on it,
Yep.
another weekend of messing around. Um, I'm gonna get hopefully the month of February. I'll be able to just start tackling some of that habitat projects, hunting projects, and hopefully we get some videos taken out there while we're doing it, and
Mm-hmm.
um, get them posted up.
Yep. So I'll be cutting and filming videos this weekend. I told Hannah, I said I'm all caught up at home. I said I'm in a good place now. I got Larry's room redone. I'm like, now we gotta, get into some of this habitat stuff. I need some chainsaw therapy, dude. Um, Bo says, what about pre-recorded shows and then upload them once a week? We can do that. That's
And we just
always,
don't have the live interaction with you guys. I mean that's more or less what we would do if we're out in the field. We would just take videos and then probably post something on YouTube.
yep.
Or
Yeah.
post it to our Facebook page.
Yeah, I mean, we've always talked about pre-recording shows and stuff like that, but our style has always kind of been just because that's what we are, is we want the live interaction. We want, we want the spoof to happen on live air.
And then that's kind of Bo the whole thing that we were kind of talking about doing like a YouTube channel.
Hmm.
We can do like season one, and we want to incorporate all those little clips into that of what's leading up to season and what was successful, what wasn't.
Hmm.
Um, trial and error stuff, us screwing up or us crushing it, whatever. You know,
Hmm.
and
Both,
so a lot of those little videos we would like to incorporate. I would like to incorporate more into that. I
yeah.
know me and Ben been bouncing back and forth on stuff,
Yeah, we could, and we could always fill in, like I said, with a pre-recorded show, if we have the video already, we can dive it right into the thing.
and we could still post that short and
Hmm.
still add it to the.
Sure, sure. Yeah, Bo says sometimes the live feeds we can get a little bit off topic. Pre-recorded show we can really stay focused. Yeah, that's a good point with it.
I know
Um,
we do have to get a little better with this. Going back to what Bo's saying about staying on topic and staying more focused is how many weeks did it take us to um, talk about buck betting when we said we
it
were
took
going to?
like
It took
two
us
or
like a
three.
month later we talked about it,
Yeah,
and then not long after that we talked about time management with um, family, work, and hunting, and still being successful.
yep,
And then we still haven't even gotten into that,
mm-hmm,
and we were going to do that.
yep,
It just seems like I don't know, Bo. It's just hectic. It seems like we're always kind of flying off the seat of our pants to do these
yeah.
shows.
No, it's
We're like,
it's
all right, let's go.
yeah, it's Wednesday. We got to run. Which I like, and we've had feedback that a lot of folks like that because it's organic and it's just real conversations, and the good topics get put in there. So whether we maybe edit up some different chapter posts into the Facebook thing or something like that, if we could figure out how to do that with saying like this is where we start talking about, like you said, buck betting in this episode, or this is where kind of almost make the itinerary for the episode,
It's
after
tough,
we've done it. It's just a little bit extra of, seat time on the computer and stuff like that going forward. But
but I like the live interaction thing that we do.
hmm,
But I also like the idea of both saying, pre-recorded stuff.
yeah.
I mean, then we could kind of edit it, we could shorten it up or whatever, and we could actually stay on topic with something.
And we could still do it single take, like we don't have to do a bunch of the editing and stuff like that to it. A lot of it could just be the same single take or whatever. Like, like I do the videos or stuff like that, or any of our videos. I mean, the only thing we've ever edited is our intro and our outro videos. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the only editing we've ever really done for any of this.
I mean, we're pretty clean, minus some swearing.
Yeah, yeah, no, we do pretty good. Um,
Or a Jesse episode pops up.
yeah, well, you're gonna have that. Um,
Have you guys ever listened to the guy from before the Eco podcast? Before the
I have
Eco?
not,
No.
have not, not right off. So, um, I guess for getting on topic. So our topic for I guess tonight is going to be our next steps going forward. We talked about the events we're going to be doing and stuff like that, but like what's priority number one for Nate and this year? Now that the barn's wrapped up, that was your crossover from our 2024 goal.
Hmm.
The last of it off the list that just took you an extra couple months, which you had a long list, so I give you a lot of credit, dude. You killed everything else except for the barn last year.
Yeah.
So,
Put the barn on the back burner. Wow, money was mainly an issue with that.
hmm,
But yeah, so I guess what are what are my plans leading into it?
hmm,
Well, finishing the barn for one. Yeah, James, we're in my barn. James drove by the other day. He was
yeah,
at work. Um, kind of does a hybrid type of life.
hmm,
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, I guess for my projects for the year, I guess hunting wise, I really actually when we were trying to find the buck my wife shot at opening day, we walked through one of the two major bedding. I would say actually the major bedding area on that piece, and
It's been a couple years since we've been in there at all.
wow, I mean I've walked at shed hunting and
Yeah,
stuff,
true.
but walking through there and it just kind of clicked that um, there is a little bit of a ridge that carries out in there. This is where I wish I had like the whiteboard and I could explain my thought behind this, but I would like to. There was already a natural logging trail that comes out on this pretty large bench shelf on the side of the hill. Because there's the top of the hill, and then it comes down into that clover field, and then it bench shelves off, and then it drops back down into the neighbors. Well, that
And then
bench
swamp
shelf
down below.
and that bench shelf almost lines up perfect to where like this little valley slash ridge comes up in that bedding area. And on top of that ridge, what I'm thinking of doing is extending that logging trail, not as big, like large enough to make it comfortable for a deer to walk through so they don't have to walk through all the shit.
Hmm.
Just make it kind of like
Focusing that movement down.
the boulevard, like,
Yep.
why don't we walk down this instead of
Sure.
up and around and all through this shit?
Hmm.
You know, because deer naturally want to take the easiest path. So I'm thinking right at the bottom of that little ridge that's in there, I want to cut that little deer trail in to connect it to that main um, movement trail and what we call the boulevard.
Yeah, I think that'll help keep them coming up behind you as much too out of that stand.
Yeah, and it'll hopefully make them want to move, especially the bucks, because they can move that field edge under cover, and when they hit that corner, they can either go straight and hook out and check out the field, or they can hook hard right and they're right in the corner.
Hmm.
I really hate that cut in that hedgerow because if I set up where I want to set up, I'm risking them choosing to use that cut, and I need to block those trails off. That's another project. But going back to the bottom of that little ridge out there, cut that trail in there that I want the deer to use, and then go those little satellite beddings I was talking about on the one episode for buck bedding. I want them to be up just on the east side of that little knoll. I don't want them on the west side. I want them just on the east side. So you get to the top of that little ridge with my trail down below, the bucks can go up, and below that little ridge is all that, whatever you want to call it, switchgrass, goldenrod,
That's all, yeah.
all that stuff.
Place where it got pushed
So
out
they
about 10
can,
years ago and it's coming back.
so I'm thinking, my thought is I put 3 satellite beds up there. Maybe I put one in the like on the west side for a different wind. I don't know. I'm still debating on that. But off of that trail, I make these little feeder trails that lead to these little satellite
Pockets.
bedding pockets.
Hmm.
And my thought is that the bucks are going to go up that little ridge. They're going to be up above where all the does are going to be bedded,
Hmm.
down in that swale grass and all that. And they'll be able to, with a west wind, they'll be able to smell everything coming up the hill behind them, and they'll be able to see over that bedding area where all the lady, all their pride land.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like Lion King. I'm gonna
Sure.
make it like Pride Rock.
Pride Rock. Got it.
Okay. New bucks now are gonna be named after Lion King characters.
Scar, Mufasa,
We
Simba.
got Scar, Mufasa. Oh, I should have named Patches Scar.
Huh.
We could change it. No, he's Patches
Patches.
because he does have the blind eye.
Yeah.
That would have been Scar.
I got a blind buck this year too.
Mm. Either way, so that is the major project I want to get done.
And then you talked about putting a stand up on the north end, take advantage of the
So the
far
second-
east side.
So the far east side of that hillside is pretty good bedding. I don't think it's not as good as the west side, but it's good bedding, and I think Well, there's two beddings. There's bedding at the neighbor's old cow pasture on top of that hill, and then there's bedding on the side hill. And then in between all that thick stuff, there's this, I don't know, 100, yard
Mm-hmm.
strip of just open timber. Open timber between two bedding areas. Just gonna plop a stand up
Good
in there.
cruising spot.
Mainly a rut spot,
Pinch them through.
pinch point.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to do that.
You got to help me with
Um,
my projects.
gotta help Ben with his projects.
We got to frost seed the lease. All the trails that I freaking torched last year, we got to frost seed them because all the rye I got was like 0% germ because I bought farmer rye and didn't germ it before I bought it.
Yeah, yeah,
So
none of that rye you got
yeah,
worked.
so
So that's probably those are probably the two major projects. I have some other ones. The water hole idea actually worked.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I was out there and I watched deer go up to the kiddie pool water plot thing,
Mm-hmm.
water hole, kiddie pool kill plot,
Yeah.
and I think I posted a video of a deer drinking out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But I mean, if I get to it, I would like to actually make that bigger
Yep.
because they actually hold water in that.
Sure.
I actually have to go there like once a week to fill it up with the size that it is. But there's that. I actually think that the water hole thing wasn't a bad idea. I think instead of doing 100 proof on the edge of the clover plot like we did last year, I think I'm going to do
Milo.
no, no.
I've had since we talked about that last episode, I've had 3 people message me if I'm selling Milo this year.
Everybody's all about Milo.
That's the new hot. That's the new hot, sexy seed for this year is Milo.
And everybody's blowing up about it, but I'm still skeptical in our area just because there's so much corn around. If it's actually gonna,
I'm gonna put it in. You know, I gotta try it. I gotta play with it a little bit.
I mean, try it.
I've had
I'm doing.
millet. I've put millet and sunflower in. That was in a
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
upland
So
mix.
on that edge of that clover field, I want a screening, but I would also like a little bit of food. So I'm actually gonna go with a sunflower soybean mix,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna see how it works out. I get those sunflowers to grow up. That'll give me a little break up on the
You
edge.
could put a little millet in with it to give it some woody structure, like some stocky structure too, or some Sudan grass that doesn't have as much food
That's
component, but it's got some cover component.
I got a whole 50-pound bag of soybeans sitting.
Yeah, true.
I might as well put them to use before they're no good.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm just gonna go pick up some black oil sunflower seeds. I'm gonna mix them in there
Germ it and see where
and
we're at.
put it out there.
Yep. Bo's got good eyes. Or maybe the picture finally just came through. He said, dude, I just noticed is that an Exodus cell cam on the table? Yeah, so I finally bought a cell cam, but I'm not using it as a cell cam. It was on Facebook Marketplace for El Cheapo. So I was talking to the guy and I was like, yeah, he said it sucks they went out of business. He's like, good, they went out of business? I'm like, yeah, they did.
He probably just bought it as a.
Well, he got it from his wife for a
Wait a
Christmas
minute, that is
present.
a cell cam, isn't it?
It is.
You're going cell cam?
No, I'm gonna rent it like a regular camera. No, ain't no cell cams. I'm gonna leave the
I'm
antenna
gonna go
on it.
find your cell cams. I'm gonna hang things off their antennas in front of them.
There you go. We'll bring the buck out around the side of it. No, it's an Exodus cell, but I'm not gonna run it like a cell. But the price was too good to pass up for
No,
the
hang something in front of them so they can't take pictures,
oh
like a leaf.
there's Nate.
I did it to Jesse's cam.
You
Yeah,
know where all my cameras are actually.
I know. That's
If
that's
there was-
why all those 3-year-olds or 2-year-olds got shot out there. Like it was me.
Bo says send it to Tax Camera Moultrie. They'll give you a brand new camera for $10. Yeah, I don't know. I like my Exodus. R.I.P. Exodus. I've always liked them, dude. They've been good bulletproof cams. They got kind of the short end of the stick and didn't make the best business decisions, it sounds like.
I
So
like
it sucks.
Moultrie.
Moultrie, I've heard good things about.
I really do. I like the setup. I really do like Moultrie.
It's still Ford Chevy though, but because you'll
I
have guys
think
that want Spy Point, Tacticam,
I think the longest lasting camera I've ever had.
a non-cell I've had. The longest one is a Moultrie. I still have a Moultrie running that runs on C
It would be. It's
batteries.
actually tough. It'd be Moultrie and Stealth Cam. Like the
Those
Stealth.
culverts, I got culverts that have been running since
Like the Stealth
2010.
Cam is like 10 years old.
Yeah, I got a couple of them culverts that have been running since like 2010. You
Actually,
got a
I
couple
might.
of those hand-me-downs.
Well, I gave them all to Ian.
Oh, yeah, good.
Ian's running them over
The
there.
third generation,
I guess I'm still using them because he fills me in on what's over there.
still cranking. They were decent cameras for the price,
I like
And
them.
yeah, I've always liked the covert
Simple.
stuff.
I like the simpleness of it.
Simple, straightforward. That's nice.
Just a
Um,
switch. Take a photo on 5 seconds. Close the door.
yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Um, but yeah,
Half the
so
time they put those abbreviations on the digital screen, and you don't even know what the abbreviation means. You're like, okay, what does that mean?
yo.
And
So I guess to go back to kind of round the topic out with it or whatever. Um, if you saw something this year that made you kind of scratch your head, or like moving forward next year, if you didn't have a successful hunt, do something about it to change it. Whether that's manipulating the habitat if you can, finding a new spot on a property. I mean, where I killed six pack this year was a brand new stand location. You know, and obviously one that we've never killed a deer out of because I
I had
was
a
like
hand in that. See that?
trim the lane,
I
set
trimmed
the
the
stand.
lane and I held the stand while you put the strap on.
Yeah, thank you.
I have a hand on that kill.
His hand on the ladder, so strapping it on.
Yeah.
Teamwork,
Fine, you good?
teamwork,
Fine.
100 proof teamwork. Um, but yeah, it's one of those things, dude, where you can't complain about next season. I've been out doing a few consults already this year. Um, and sometimes it's just a different set of eyes for it too. So, I'll give myself a little shameless plug here. If anybody is interested in having, me or the 100 proof team out to, give you a second set of eyes on it to pick it apart. Because even Nate, when we're looking at stuff at my place, I'm still bouncing stuff off of him for, somebody that doesn't have a biased
Yeah,
opinion.
if you don't want to hire Ben, you can hire me.
Yeah, Nate's like, fuck, why the fuck you doing
I'm a
that?
lot cheaper.
I was like, I think I should put a stand in that tree. And Nate's like, why the fuck haven't you put a stand in that tree? And then I killed that deer out of it. So, kill a hell of a 2-year-old out of it.
Hell of a 2-year-old.
Yeah.
And then one of the things that we noticed with my piece was that open piece of cover, open piece of timber in between two bedding areas. And you and me, when like it kind of like, bing, that one day, I think it was open day when I watched that buck walk through there. I'm like, why don't I fucking stand here?
Yeah. And we've,
And
we've,
then I bounced it off you, and you're like, how the hell did we miss that? I was like, I don't fucking know. Been
yeah.
hunting for 3 years.
Well, I think part of it was you didn't want to park on the low road and stuff like that.
Yeah, I was a little worried about the neighbors, but
Yeah.
now that I've been there a couple of years, I know I'm not
It's
too
not as
worried
much.
about setting up close to the border.
And we had one up on top in there, and the access is okay for it. And we never thought about going down over the roll with it. And we were more focused because that, again, is one of the bedding areas, but it's not like the primary bedding like the other side where we've focused the improvements on, where you've killed the deer over there, etc. So, the other spot was just a lot more set up, less manipulating.
So 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, you killed a bunch of deer over there.
Three of my bucks that are in the Northeast Big Buck Club and shoulder mounted on my wall were all killed within 200 yards of each other.
Yep.
They were all shot on that focal point
Out of,
that we picked on that property.
yeah, out of, I guess you could say, at least 2 different stands, 3, because the one was on the ground.
One I shot with a rifle on the ground.
Yeah.
But that's where my elevated blind is now.
Yeah. Sure.
2 of them were on the ground because I was walking into that same exact spot where the elevated blind is, and I shot my buck with a rifle this year.
Yep.
So it was actually 2 out of the same spot, and one.
Yeah, those are within 20 yards. You shot those from
one
where
on
you
the
were standing.
boulevard.
Yeah. Probably
So-
within 20 yards where you shot
Less
both those
than that.
bucks, right?
10 feet. Was
Oh
that
yeah,
tree?
because you were creeping up to the tree. Yeah.
Is that true?
But again, and you're going to have that with a piece, there's going to be a couple spots that just set up just naturally for it on any given piece without manipulation. And then the new spot that we thought about, Nate threw it out there this year for that one between the beddings. I'm
That's
just
gonna
like,
be
why?
bow
Why?
season.
Like, why?
Amazing. All day. I would sit there all day.
Because that's all downwind, all that corn, too.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be all downwind of that corn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm blowing. I got a pond, a cow pond,
Mm-hmm.
like
Open pasture ground you
100
can
feet
blow
away.
into.
Then I'm gonna blow over. That's
Yep.
just gonna carry my shit up over the road.
Sure. Yeah, it's got
The
good
hardest
potential.
thing that's gonna be is finding, which I've been in there and I've been looking, is actually trying to find a tree that I'm not gonna stand out on. And I got one, and
It's probably a
the
big
fence runs right through it.
couple clump maples and hickories along that fence, if I remember right, from when we tracked that doe in there that one time.
I got one picked out that I like, but the fence runs right through it, and I'm always kind of weird about that.
Yeah.
The old barbed wire fence, which is the property line, like
Mm-hmm.
Keith brought up in that episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would be
Running it.
right
Yeah.
on the line,
Sure.
which I don't think is an issue, just because it's just a cow pasture fence and it's just a cow pasture on the other side of it.
Yeah, and you're shooting them coming through onto the piece you're.
I'd be facing onto mine, but
Mm-hmm.
we'll see. I'll try it out. If they yell at me or the stand gets ripped down. But if I can, you can legally put one right on the line,
You
right?
can. It's legal. It's legal, and again, we're not. It's a non-hunting neighbor for that piece for the most part too.
Well, there is a guy that hunts up.
They might
he
get.
sits right on the north side of that bedding area.
Yeah, he sits right in that same vicinity. So.
He was banging away,
Yep.
but
He's shooting all your bucks coming through that pinch.
he might be.
Bo had a comment down there at the bottom.
Where are we? Send it to that. Oh, okay,
That
there
one.
we go.
Bo says he's got 35 mil cameras still going. Don't use them, but I still got them. Taking the old school. Cha-ching. Go take it. Where can you get 35 mil developed nowadays? You got to go to like
I
a
think Staples and Walmart still do it.
maybe. I was gonna say you got to take it to some weird guy's basement and have him develop it for you in his dark room.
Just let me take pictures.
Just want to take some pictures.
Take it to Dahmer's.
Yeah.
He'll do it.
Yeah, he's got a little Dahmer room started.
Have you seen the finished product?
Oh, he hasn't.
got-
He never sent it to me.
He's got a deer antler as his handle to open the door to it.
That's pretty. That's pretty on par.
I tell you what,
Steve's liking the video. Steve
who?
Westfall.
Oh, Steve.
Thanks for tuning in, Steve.
Hey, Steve, why don't you come over?
Yeah,
It's cold.
it's
Stay
cold.
home.
It's
Stay
cold. The
home.
wind's howling out there.
Stay home.
Um, but yeah. Oh, look at all the skins.
Oh, he's got a new one now. This is the one.
All right.
Dahmer's death is complete.
Dahmer.
Look at Look at that.
Hey, he did a good job, man.
Yeah, he did.
I wonder if Dan Festa did most of it.
Probably. I mean, he's good. He's doing all of. He's doing all the cutting work for Bo now this year. He's not going to hire us. He's got Dan Festa coming out there to cut all of his trees for him.
As long as Dan has his shirt off, Bo's gonna hire him.
Yep. Kylie says Steve's tuned in. Yeah, Steve tunes in to just about all of us. Thank you, Steve.
Steve's a good supporter. He's
Appreciate
good to me.
it.
Him and Jane are too good to me, honestly.
Absolutely. And then Bo's long essay questions.
Oh my god.
So Bo says, question. He says we're getting off topic, but he throws in the new topic.
He really does. He's the one that throws us off topic. We don't even get to finish one topic.
Yeah, don't get to finish my habitat projects. That's fine. We'll jump into this one. Planted 2 chestnut oaks about 4 years ago, but they're not in the right spot. I'd like to dig them up and replant them. Do you have any tips or techniques on how to ensure they survive the transplant? Yes. Do
Yes.
it now.
Yes.
Yeah. Before bud, swell.
A spade shovel. I would use that.
Plan on going out at least to the edge of the leaf line of the tree. Try to dig it up as whole as possible and keep that root ball intact as much as possible. Because putting them in, what'd you say, about 4 years ago, you're going to have a lot of fine feeder roots that are more critical for that plant now that it's later in life rather than when it's just like a 2 year old or a 1 year old transplant coming out of a nursery. So try to keep that root ball as intact as possible.
Do it now.
It's gonna be heavy.
It's frozen. He says do it now.
Yeah, it's gonna be heavy.
Wait till spring.
Yeah, but before bud swell. The big thing is you don't want to have the bud swell. You don't want to have any of that pushing out.
Bo, you want to know how I would do it? I'd get a shovel, I'd dig it up, and then wherever I wanted to plant it, I would dig another hole and I would put it in it and I would cover it.
That's a good point.
That's what I would do.
Pluck and play.
That's what I would do.
So yeah, chestnut oak, they're going to be a little slower growing for the most part. So you probably gained a few feet on them. They're probably not going crazy gangbusters.
Chestnut oak, that's a long grower.
Yeah, that's the big ones that
That's
you
going
see.
to be like the next guy that owns your property's benefit.
That's the ones you see down in like the Naples hills and stuff like that. A lot of chestnut. Some people call them rock oak.
They're the ones with the shells that crunch.
Yeah, you bigger acorn.
Yeah, but they don't really look like an acorn. Am I
Yeah.
thinking of the right tree?
Or are you thinking like a bur oak?
Maybe I think of a bur oak. They look more like a walnut.
Mm,
Like
no,
the
not
Cody
really.
Nom, and then they
Hickory.
No, they're not chestnut oak.
You said chestnut oak.
Is that what he said?
Literally says chestnut oaks. In your comment.
Chestnut oaks. No, they are not chestnut oaks.
No, not rock oak.
No.
That's chestnut. Yep.
No. Oh, I might be thinking of beech nut.
Oh yeah, the little spiny shells on the outside.
Yeah, yeah. I'm thinking of
Beech nut, or
Sorry.
you're thinking chestnuts, like actual chestnuts with the spinies, like that I got over at Greg's food plot.
I'm not thinking of that. Jesse
Beach, probably. Little beach thicket action.
My brain is messed up.
So yeah, so going back, I've already talked about a couple of our projects on the YouTube channel videos. We have a pond project that we're gonna do coming up. We're looking at maybe doing a timber harvest to offset some of the costs for that.
That's what I was going to talk to you about. Go ahead, continue.
Okay. So that's kind of where we're looking. Dad was supposed to have gone up to the hardwoods today to start looking at where we're going to possibly start a cutter, but we'll see. I don't know if he got out there or not. I'm just going to have to drag him out there this weekend when it's like 12 degrees. But yeah, we're going to have a couple project areas looking at. One, we have to tune up a couple spots, but we're talking about renting a excavator to do that. So that's kind of our game plan going forward with this year. Border Trail is kind of the other main one with that. If we do rent an excavator for probably two weeks, I'm thinking. If we can, obviously, we're gonna have plenty of money left over from the timber harvest to be able to rent equipment and stuff like that too. So that's kind of the reason for that. The woods needs a haircut. So that's kind of our game plan with that going forward. And we're not looking to cut it hard. We're not even looking to do necessarily a diameter limit on the cut. We're doing more of an actual select cut. We're selecting out poorly formed trees, mostly a TSI cut, and like some of the stuff that's ready to go. Some
So
of the
now
stuff.
explain TSI to people that are watching that maybe not know what TSI stands for.
So an overall like timber stand improvement, because our hardwoods on our piece, because of the way ours lays out, and it's not the majority component of our property as a whole. We're managing the timber for economic value and for turkey roost spots. Are a big piece of that too. So because a lot of the traditional roost spots in our neighborhood have been cut fairly hard, and there's not as many good roosting opportunities for turkeys. So we pull a lot of birds into our ridge to roost. So managing that timber resource for the economic benefit. Dad had an opportunity to cut that over 20 years ago, and he never did. Before we bought it, he was actually the logging outfit that was logging the parcel next to it when they went in there. And he's like, no, it's not quite ready. They took a couple, they cherry picked a couple on the edge, cherries, no pun intended with that. But that's where the multi-$1,000 cherry tree came from, was along that one border. But they didn't get into the hardwoods. It wasn't ready yet. So, and the the owner was taking out the field edge and stuff like that, and working. It's changed a lot in the last 20 years over on that board, for sure. Um, but yeah, that's kind of our game plan is the pond project because that's something that if you guys watch the episode with Dad, that's something that he's always wanted to do, and he's retired now. So again, congratulations to Dad on retiring. Um, I told him I said get out there, have a spot, let this kind of come to fruition, and start to develop that. The woods could use a little haircut to keep it healthy and manage it right. So that's where we're going with our projects this year. Other than that, Grandma's needs a couple things. The lease needs a couple things. More minor stuff, no big projects. Those are our two big projects. The timber thing, I think that'll be done in about a month of cut time or less. It's not going to be a full scale, taking multiple truckloads out of it kind of deal.
So it kind of goes back to setting reasonable expectations for yourself.
Sure. Sure.
Don't set yourself up for disappointment.
And then again, we'll probably do our shed hunt days like we do. We did cram it all into like one day last year. Now that Nora will be big enough and the weather will hopefully cooperate.
I think I did all my shed hunting on my pieces by myself.
Yeah, well, I had a baby born. I'm sorry. I was able to talk my wife into one day. I was like, I'm going to line up 10 guys. I said, we're going to try to knock it out in one day. And we almost got all of it. I think we left a few behind, though. But we'll see.
So your major project is putting
The pond.
a pond. Where'd you say?
It's down below First Trail where Liza shot her doe. Down below there, between kind of First Trail and Second Trail, down in that section. One lets us be able to plant the power line because we'll take some of the diggings out of that and flatten that. Which I'm thinking we're going to need a dozer to do some of that, or a crawler, so we'll see how that works. But
I got a twist for you.
yeah.
But Don, this is a pretty basic question here.
Yeah.
What size is the minimum cut in a bedding area? Well, I guess in my opinion, it would be what do you want to bed in there?
Yeah.
Do you want a bunch of deer to bed in there? Do you want to try and single out individual deers, like bucks? Do you want? I mean, if you just want to create a bedding area for deer, does, bucks, fawns, all that, then I mean, it all depends on the size of your piece. It all depends on
Sure.
where you want it. I mean, location would be key. You don't want to set all that up to where you're blowing it out, walking into how you want to hunt it.
Yeah.
Make sure you pick out where you want it. But I mean, just size in general. I mean, honestly,
Couple trees.
I was gonna say just a couple trees knocked down that are just kind of crossed on each other like this is plenty.
You're looking at making side structure and canopy. You can effectively make a bedding area with taking one dominant tree down in a spot in the right location or whatever. And I'm not saying go in there and completely, clear cut it either. You can get a lot of the work done by dropping your big dominant trees in the canopy. On your piece, it's predominantly some sugar maple, and I think there's a few hickory scattered in there. There's a few cherry scattered in there on that face. I would obviously not take anything that has potential timber value if possible. Use some of those non-desirable trees, whether they have some scarring issues, low stemming branches, etc. But I don't think it has to be all that big because in big woods it's a lot different than more mixed habitat ag country where we are, where you can cram deer in a very small area and you can make it really thick and they can get in the hole up in that. You start doing that down in some southern tier ground, you'll see them almost just bed on the edges of it. They won't get as much into the interior of it just because it's too thick. It's not comfortable for them to get back into some of that thicker area, unless they're highly pressured. So I mean that also plays a little bit of a factor in it. So minimum size, I would say a few trees, half a dozen of them, and I'm talking the big ones that reach up. When you look up in the canopy and you see where the branches go to, like look at where that sunlight and that opening is going to come down from. Southern exposure is going to be your best friend because that's going to be a majority of your sunlight, during the growing season for the most part. But yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a set size. I see you say about 3/4 acre. I don't think it necessarily even needs to be that big, unless you kind of make it somewhat central and then kind of feather it out towards stand locations. I think yeah, if you're spreading it out 3/4. But if you're just going in and doing like a 3/4 acre clear cut, I would say I don't think that that's much of a fit as you would think it's gonna be. I would rather you like drop a few in the center of it and then do a few select cuts going out of it towards stand locations. I think it'll be a lot better than giving up a 3/4 acre just bedding. Because all you're going to do is just stuff one doe, like Nate said, one family group of does in that 3/4 acre. If you have multiple, downs along a whole corridor section area, you'll have them bedding and or transitioning through that cover along that.
Just in that 3/4 acres, Don, I would just take like 2 to 3 trees, drop, and just lay them over each other. Move on, let's say 100 feet.
100 yards, whatever.
Drop 2, 3 more, and just walk up and just make those little pockets in that 3/4 acres. If you go through and you clear cut it, your best bet for bedding is to actually just let it regrow up into the short shrub, and you're going to take multiple years to actually make it decent bedding at that point, and you're going to create some browse that way. But if you just drop a few trees and make pocket and just make structure,
Yep.
I mean, I always kind of think of it as like bass fishing. You're looking for structure. You're looking for those down trees in the
100%.
I fish a lot of rivers and the canal and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And where you find them all is those down trees, logs, stumps, wherever, and because those fish want to be against structure. It's the same thing with deer. They want cover. They want structure. They want something that they can lay up against and feel secure.
Yep. Yeah, and that's the thing too. I see Donnie's comment coming in there down below. Good take, kind of with the less is more. 100%. I think that's a good place to start, and then you can also take some of those sub trees if you want to make it a little bit thicker, or you need a little bit of screening. You could take some of those, lesser beeches maybe, or understory hop hornbeam. You see a lot of times that grow under the canopy. You can use a lot of those for side structure cover if you want to hinge them cool, and make that kind of part of your manipulation of flow for cover. That works out really well too.
And then, like Ben said, I mean, if you target the larger canopy trees, like a huge maple, like a big maple, they got big leaves.
Or big
They're
beech or
covering up a
whatever.
lot, a big beech. I mean, if you drop that tree, just think of how much sunlight's coming down on that one spot. You drop 2, 3 of them, that's a whole pocket.
Yeah.
And then that sunlight gets down to that whole pocket, and now you already have the structure there. And then once the sunlight over a couple of years hits that, you're going to get all that little stuff growing up around it, and you're creating this bedding pocket.
Yeah. So the biggest thing with cutting that is biggest trees first. Whatever the big tree that is going to come down first is your first cut. Don't start with the little finesse hinge cuts, because I can't tell you how many times I go into a piece and they've said, well, we cut a bedding area in here, and all they did was cut all the small maples and hop hornbeams down over each other, and they didn't let any sunlight in or put any big structure immediately on the ground. They just hinge cut that stuff, which it can't survive without sunlight. So that's why your finesse stuff afterwards comes after your big trees first. You always work big to small when you're cutting bedding. Otherwise, you're just going to crash out a lot of your finesse work and your smaller trees. Um, and obviously, if the tree wants to go one way, you can use that to your advantage and kind of make that the way that you kind of bend that spot or change that spot a little bit. Don't try to make a big tree do something, it doesn't want to do.
And then sometimes, depending on how open your hardwoods is or how tight it is, you might have to cut 2, 3, 4 trees to drop a tree in a certain direction just to get it to hit the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So, because trees getting hung up sucks.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Bo's comment was chestnuts. Actually, chestnuts, not chestnut oaks. That he was talking about earlier. A couple comments in the middle of Donnie's there. I saw it trickle in. So chestnuts, I would definitely say now is probably your best time to get them now before bud swell and leaf emergence. For those chestnuts. Don't let them get too overexposed to northern exposure, west winds. You could freeze them out if you're in a lower grow zone than we are, which I think you are. So, yep. Uh, Bo says, trust me, cutting betting pockets and hardwoods can be tough, especially when dealing with larger trees. My property is mostly hardwoods, and getting enough sunlight can be daunting. Plus, tall trees take up a lot more space on the ground, so you have to go back through and cut escape routes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's part of your finesse work at the end.
And
Is get the big stuff down, and then you start, doing
but
your
make
trim work
sure
and your frame work after, you get the box up.
you're
So
doing your framing work before you put.
trim and molding and
Yeah,
finishing touches on it.
you're going in being a framer, and then once you got the structure and the plan set up for your property to be able to hunt it, to access it, you got your food, your cover slash bedding, your stand locations. Then you go in and you start doing these little fine tuning little things.
Yeah, the fine work, the detail work, the stuff that makes it really pop and really
But
really looks
Don,
better.
also make sure you're not cutting down anything. Obviously, like Ben said, a value slash food for deer. Like I'm, I don't know Don.
Yeah,
Sounds like Ben does.
yeah,
If you have somewhat knowledge of a tree, I mean, Ben, I'm gonna throw you under the bus here, or not under the bus, but or whatever. I'm just gonna be like, if you're unsure of what a tree is before you cut it down, just take a picture of it and send it to Ben
yeah.
or me, and we'll do our best to let you know if
hmm
it's. Uh,
Yeah, if you got a question on it, sure. And same thing, only different. If you're in 100% fairly dominated oak forest, it's okay to cut oak trees. I'm gonna be that bad guy and be like, you can cut an oak tree.
in a
It's okay.
dominant oak forest,
If it's
an
one of your
oak
predominant.
flat, you can take a few out.
If it's one of the dominant species in that woodlot section, you can absolutely take a poorly formed or look underneath it and see which oak tree is not producing all that well. Because I think the number that Craig Harper came out with is 10 or 20% of your oaks make 90% of your acorns. So just think of that for your oak trees.
Mhm.
You know, and usually the prettiest timber tree is not the one that's dropping the most acorns. Due to the old, gnarly, squirrely, twisty one that never got cut.
Cool looking one.
Yeah, the cool looking one. But, all right, we're at 59 minutes, and I think that's a good place to about wrap up for the night.
You want me to give you my take
Oh, yeah. Yeah, what was your take when you
after
said, yeah, what's that?
after the podcast? Or you want me to do it now?
Well, you said you had a quick take when I was in the middle of explaining my projects.
Your pond project.
Prime project, yep.
I think you need a pond on the east side or west side.
West side of the road. Need more water over there. That's what you're thinking?
Wow. It seems like you guys kill all your bucks on the east side. At least since I've known you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd
And
have to add them up, but it's probably more on the east than the west, yeah.
so if you think about what does the east side have that the west side doesn't, the
hmm
one big thing that stands out is that big water source.
hmm
Is that pond.
Sure. Or maybe it's we cut in little water hole pockets and put them in that way, and maximize it rather than make one central source and make multiple small sources.
Yeah. However, but
So,
I'm thinking you guys are talking about adding that pond down there.
sure.
Uh, I was just thinking maybe it
Throw a wrinkle in the sheets with it.
throw a wrinkle in it. Maybe it'd be more value to you guys or help
hmm
you guys out more to actually do one on the west side.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good thought, dude. Good place to end it for this episode. So we'll see. We don't know if we'll do a live show. Probably not because it's loud and like you can't like you're just watching us pour booze or something like that at a tasting or anything like that. So we probably won't do a live show. Um,
Runnings?
the sip and stroll.
Oh, Sip and Stroll, yeah.
We're going to do one at Runnings. We're going to sit down with some of the guys, have them tell some stories. I think.
Well, then I feel like when you put someone on live, like you almost have to let them know.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I don't know if the live thing really.
Yeah, we might do some pre-recorded ones, some like mini episodes of guys talking about their hunt or something like that.
Yeah.
Or if we get a couple of them lined up, who knows? We'll play that by ear. But Yeah, thank you all for tuning into this episode. Stay tuned for the announcement on when the next episode will be. Um, yeah, yeah. If you have marketable trees or whatever, um, yeah, pockets of dead oaks, gypsy moss killed. Yeah, I would just double check, make sure that they're, if they're killed by the gypsy moss, just be careful cutting them. Um, yeah, but yeah, and that's a good point too, Bo. If you're not comfortable cutting the trees, don't put yourself out there to. I walked away from trees that I, was going to cut. If it's not something you feel comfortable with, there's obviously other people out there that have way more skill set than that or better tools and equipment for it, like
Mm-hmm.
loggers. So, well, there we are. We're a little over 1 hour in. Thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned for updates on when we'll do the next show. I don't think it'll be next Wednesday because I'm out of town. So we just got to figure out childcare and where we're going to do it. But stay tuned for posts over on the Hunter Proof page and or our personal pages. We'll probably post it there too if we're going to do an episode. And thank you guys so much for the support. Hopefully the outro video is going to play on this. And we'll catch y'all next time. Hunter Proof Whitetails at the bar, in the shop, on the road, wherever we're at. Thank you guys so much.
Try and make it work.
See you.
Sure.